All right. Hello, citizens of the Nigerverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is gonna be another wrestling review. It's time for WWE to return to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia once again, and for yet another crown jewel event. But this one with a little bit of something interesting and something new. Who became the Crown Jewel champions? Let's find out. It's time to review Crown Jewel from this past Saturday. Hey, and I thought about doing a same day review, but unfortunately, not gonna lie, I was pretty tired. I had woken up early that morning to go do some errands. By the time I got back at home, I was pretty tired. I took a little mini nap, and I don't know if that made me even more tired or less tired or both, I guess. But I ended up still pretty tired. I made it through the show okay, but I figured I'd put the review off for a couple days, especially with me now going to daily uploads for the rest of 2024. I figured, you know what, we'll get to Crown Jewel a little bit later. But here we are now, so now it's time to see what went down at Crown Jewel. And as always, I am not professional wrestling reviewer or analyst or anything like that. Just a man who enjoys a good time, and I must say I had a really good time with this show and with this card. This was one that at first a lot of people weren't really excited for when the championships got announced. The Crown Jewel championships got announced at Bad Blood. A lot of people weren't really happy that much about it. A lot of people felt it was kind of pointless. There's a lot of people who were like, why should we care? Like, the championships are Saudi exclusives. Why should we care? But then, as more of the card took shape, and we even got our feuds, which for the two Crown Jewel championships, that's when I think WWE kind of won back a lot of the people, and I must say they definitely delivered a really good show, I must say. To the point where which is apparently now they're saying is that this Crown Jewel was the most watched, and I believe most attended. It's either one or both. I believe this one was the most watched. I think it's that one. On the most watched Saudi event out of any of the ones they've done, and so impressive numbers. Say what you want about the the politics side of doing the events in Saudi Arabia and everything and the championships, but they did some pretty decent business there, I must say. But nevertheless, without further ado, let's get right into it. And of course, we're not basing it off of that. We're mainly going based off the quality of the card. Alright, but nevertheless, let's get right into said card. If you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of know how this works. If you haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I like and dislike about each match. I'm going to go match by match. Starting with the Bloodline six-man tag, which it did kind of surprise me that this match ended up being the first on the card. As the bloodline and the new bloodline of Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga took on the OG bloodline, that being Roman Reigns and the Usos, Jimmy and Jay. So, how exactly did we get here? Solo has been mucking in the business of Jey Uso, kind of bringing Jay into the fold. At first, it was just Roman and Jimmy. Jimmy, of course, or actually, I should start with Roman. Roman came back at SummerSlam, helped Cody beat Solo. Jimmy, he came back at Bad Blood and helped the new bloodline, actually, I should say, helped Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes defeat the new bloodline. And eventually, Jay got into the fold. Jay initially rejected Solo and the new bloodline, so in response, they cost him the Intercontinental Championship. So Jay is no longer Intercontinental Champion, of course, and now he is all in, kind of somewhat reconciling with his brother and his cousin Roman. But that's saying this time we're doing it on different terms. This time we are not your underlings, Roman. We are your equals. So, how did that play into the match? Let's find out. For starters, from the entrances, from the offsets, that's a very smart choice to have. Very smart, interesting choice from a storyline perspective to have Jay not quite come out with Roman and Jimmy. Roman and Jimmy doing their entrance first, and then Jay doing his entrance through the crowd and everything. And I think that was a good move because the story throughout the match is that while the new bloodline are coordinated and a well-oiled machine, the old bloodline are still going through some turmoil amongst themselves. Of course, still a lot of bad blood, no pun intended, between Roman and Jay and Jimmy, and I imagine even to an extent Jimmy and Roman perhaps, but yeah. So that tension and is evident throughout the match, including Jay not wanting to tag in Roman. He eventually does, and. And from a story perspective, to see things unfolded relatively nicely. Ultimately, the new bloodline picking up the win with Solo pinning Roman Reigns. Now, this caused quite a bit of division, and there was a lot of people who liked this and a lot of people who didn't. And the main thing I've seen and kind of the, I guess, concern I've seen brought up is that Roman Reigns was buried. Oh, Roman's buried. Oh, the old bloodline is buried. Stuff like that. And then also, before I address that, Sammy, making the save as the new bloodline beats down the OG bloodline. And Sammy, goes to nail. So he takes out Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Jacob Fatu, who that being Sammy, the Usos, and Roman, of course. Or Sammy, you think he's gonna side with Solo, especially because they were seen talking in the parking lot on the Raw before Crown Jewel, or on the Go Home Raw before Crown Jewel, and Sammy, nope, delivers a big ol' exploder suplex to Solo. So Sammy is siding with the OG bloodline, at least for the time being. And all four men have Solo cornered, and by cornered I mean Solo's dead center of the ring. All four of the OG bloodline, that being Sammy, the Usos, and Roman, are in the corners. Roman and Sammy go for an attack at the same time, and Sammy accidentally nails Roman, so incidental contact, and Solo slips away. Now, I get the vibe they were going for. It's supposed to be like this. Oh my God, Sammy hit Roman. Oh, what's gonna be the fallout from this? Now they're gonna be fighting again. But me, I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty funny. I don't think I was supposed to be laughing at that moment. I think it was supposed to be more of a serious moment, but that was kind of funny. The way they hyped it up, they were staring down Solo. Everybody, was in their respective corners, and Solo dead center in the middle. They have him dead to right. Sammy goes for the shot. Roman goes for the shot, and then they accidentally nail each other. Or it was kind of goofy. It was kind of funny. You think it's gonna be this big epic moment of Solo. Oh, he gets his comeuppance. And then accidentally he hit each other. I compare it to, I forget the one movie. With Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and speaking of the Bloodline members, as I'm looking it up right now, yeah, the other guys is the moment in there where they say aim for the bushes and they jump off the building. You think it's gonna be an epic moment where they land and they do something cool because it's The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. Of course they're gonna do something cool, and then they just splat right on the sidewalk. I kind of get that same vibe, but now a lot of people asking, is the OG bloodline buried? Why did they bury the OG bloodline? Why the new bloodline look dominant? And the answer to that is because the story permits it. Like the story needs it. Why does Roman get pinned? Because Roman's not invincible anymore. Or Roman taking some time off showing some kinks in the armor. He lost to Cody already. He lost essentially his family. He lost his bloodline. He lost his Ulafala. He essentially lost all these things. Roman's not invincible anymore. Or plus, the new bloodline, I argue, need the win way more than the OG bloodline here. mainly because the new bloodline needs to look like a big deal if they're gonna face the OG bloodline. If the OG bloodline, as disjointed as they were, as uncoordinated as a team as they were with all like their issues and animosity they have one another, or if they just steamrolled over the new bloodline, then the new bloodline looks weak. It now looks ineffective because these guys who can't even get on the same page, these guys who kind of have animosity towards each other, there's some animosity towards each other, all of a sudden are a well-oiled machine. No, that's not the story. The story is the family being slowly drifting back together, and Sammy coming back to the fold, being referred to as Sammy Uso again. So cool. So Sammy can bust out the old honorary Uso T-shirt, but that's not the story. The story is that. Or not the story of the OG bloodline steamrolling over the new bloodline. That's not what's happening here. Because if that was the case, then the new bloodline would look weak. They would look ineffective. And the other thing is that now it segues into Survivor Series. Now how the new bloodline has kind of a edge over the OG bloodline. So now the OG bloodline has to regroup and will more than likely get their win at Survivor Series. Jacob Fatu turn possibly, but it fits the story, and it doesn't make the OG bloodline look weak. It doesn't make Roman Reigns look weak. Because the OG bloodline isn't back to 100%, and Solo needs to look like a big deal. The new bloodline needs to look like a big deal, and it will look like a big deal going into Survivor Series. And he's plus as Roman doesn't lose that often anymore. Or this is only the second loss Roman's had this year. That's still less losses than Cody. If you can believe it, that's still less losses than Cody. I believe that's less loss. That's even less losses than Cody for this year, if I'm not mistaken. But Roman hadn't lost that much. He hadn't been pinned in like years. His last time he was pinned prior to Cody beating him was in the tag team match at Money in the Bank last year when Jay pinned him. So Roman doesn't lose that often, and so he can afford the loss here. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. So the OG bloodline hasn't been buried. Far from it. It's because now it's time to regroup. Now the bloodline story is shaking up again, and that's the thing I love about the bloodline story is it's almost self-sufficient. When the story is just starting to get boring and people are starting to lose interest, all of a sudden this new twist comes in and makes things fresh and exciting for the bloodline story again, and that's exactly what's happening here, and I'm sure some similar to that will happen at Survivor Series. But otherwise, yeah, so pretty decent match. Like in terms of the action of the match, it's nothing super duper spectacular, but it furthers the story. And that being said, I spent about 13 minutes talking about this first match. Let's move on to the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, as Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defended against Damage Control, that being Kairi Sane and Io Sky, the Metaphors, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, and Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. This was a pretty good match. I think all 8 women did their thing for sure. A lot of fun moments, and a lot of crazy moments, including Piper wiping out her own partner, and ultimately that's what cost them the match. I think all 8 ladies did really well, compared to when Lash and Jakara lost in about a minute or so. I think this is more than makes up for it, and I can't wait to see them become even more of a presence in the women's tag division. And all these teams gunning for the women's tag team titles was them teasing not only a potential heel turn for Bianca and Jade, but the split for Bianca and Jade. I think this is exactly the shot in the arm that the women's tag team title division desperately needed, and it's awesome to see. Now Io Sky is challenging for the women's world championship in the future, so things I would say are definitely looking up, and this this match I think is a great example of it. But up next in grudge match, that Seth Rollins he battles Big Bronson Reed. Can we just go back to calling him Colossal? Like Big. Yeah, but Colossal was a way cooler nickname, at least to me. Maybe I'm alone on that. But of course, Bronson Reed took out Seth Rollins, hit him with 6 tsunami. He's in Seth came back, cost Bronson against Braun Strowman, and Bronson wanting to ascend into the upper echelon and become like the big star, but he'll need to go through Seth Rollins, who has spent so long at the top of the mountain. But these two definitely put on a clinic here, even from the beginning when Bronson Reed was coming out. Also, shouts out to the MF Doom attire for MF Doom inspired attire for Bronson Reed here, but Seth and Bronson battling it out very much David versus Goliath. I think both guys did really well, including in the finish with Bronson eating not 1, not 2, but 3 stomps. One on the stairs as Bronson Reed introduced it, hits one in the ring, and then the second one in the ring from the top rope, up to put away Bronson Reed, just for Bronson to stand right back up after the bell, staring down Seth Rollins, blood trickling down from his eye. Damn, what a visual! And Bronson Reed looks like an absolute monster. Seth does get the win. He gets the big win on his return. So WWE essentially gets to have their cake and eat it too. Hopefully this leads to hopefully this leads to an extended vacation from Seth Rollins, or at least some time away from the limelight, and not a dig against Seth Rollins. In fact, quite the opposite. Seth has been doing his thing this year. This has been like a really Seth has been putting on his workhorse pants this year, including obviously working through the injuries at WrestleMania 40. He in not 1, not 2, but 3 matches. Now 2 he actually wrestled, and then the third he was involved in, and obviously the main event. But yeah, if Seth wants to take a lengthy vacation, he would have earned it. He is well within his right to take that vacay if he really, really wants to. But Bronson looks like an absolute monster. Hopefully that they continue this major push for Bronson Reed. Hopefully this does lead to even bigger things for him. But next up, in the first of the 2 Crown Jewel Championship matches, Raw's Women's World Champion Liv Morgan takes on the Irresistible Force versus the SmackDown WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax. Or to say SmackDown's WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax. Of course, because they are respective champions, they're fighting for the Crown Jewel Championship. I will say, the Crown Jewel Championship, I kind of talked about it a little bit at Bad Blood, but I think the title has a little too much going on, and I think that's why a lot of people aren't gravitating towards it. Having a little too much going on. Sometimes the title can have not enough going on. Other times the title can have too much going on. And I think the Crown Jewel Championship, which makes it kind of ugly in a lot of people's eyes, is just that there's way too much going on. But several precious stones and everything, but yeah, a little too much going on. I will say though, between the white strap and the black strap, I think for once I might have to give it to the black strap here. It with the white strap, it does take some of the edge off, but I think it does look better with the black strap. But obviously we'll get to that when we get to the men's. And as for these two, who not a bad match. It is the shortest match on the card. Technically, and we'll get to that. But nevertheless, has kind of a David versus Goliath battle here. Of course, the big Nia Jax and Liv Morgan, and trying to overcome the odds. And by overcoming the odds, I mean the Billy Mitchell way by cheating. Billy Mitchell, please don't sue me. Unfortunately, unlike Carl Jobst, I cannot afford it. So Billy Mitchell, please don't sue me. But nevertheless, as Tiffany Stratton does come in, and she threatens to cash in on what? Which one would she cash in on? Because both champions are involved in the match. Like, if she cashed in, would she be a dual champion? And it's kind of weird. I kind of feared that she would cash in on the Crown Jewel Women's Championship. Which, if she did that, there would be a whole lot of discourse on social media. But neither of those happened. Raquel ended up stopping. Tiffany Stratton and ultimately helping Liv get the win over Nia Jax, which is pretty unexpected. Liv kind of pulling off the upset win, which I think I predicted that she would, but I think I was tied for my predictions. But Liv pulling off the upset win over Nia Jax, so she is the Women's Crown Jewel champion. Now I noticed it with this match. I don't think I quite noticed it with the main event, which we'll get to. But maybe it's just bad facial expression reading on my part. But when Triple H handed her the championship and held it up, it almost seemed like he didn't want to hold the title up. I know a lot of people have discourse about the championship and its overall significance when it comes to Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia and everything. And the physical championships will stay in Saudi Arabia with the vault, but they get they get rings kind of similar to like Super Bowl rings or like the Dynamite Diamond ring that MJF has which if you might want to take a page out of MJF's book if you want to keep the wins going, especially if the other members of the Judgment Day are neutralized. But nevertheless, as it seemed like Triple H almost didn't want to hold up the title, but nevertheless, hold it up he does. Liv Morgan with the win, and yes, I know some people are waiting for me to mention it, and I will mention it here since we're on the match. That title is almost as big as Liv is. The thing is, Liv is pretty small. She's pretty short, or which, hey, nothing against short people. I'm kind of short myself. I'm about 5'10", I believe. But Liv is pretty small. So the title being almost as big as her, or like is admittedly pretty funny to see. Yeah, I imagine, and like if Darby Allin does win the AEW World Championship this year, he'd probably have the same problem because Darby's also pretty small. But seeing Liv with a title that's literally almost as big as her, it probably is. Like if we like stood Liv up and then stood the title up, it might be taller than her. But then again, that wouldn't be fair because we'd be comparing like the strap to the top of the strap. But nevertheless, congrats to Liv on the win and a pretty decent match. But next up is supposed to be Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton, a big grudge match. Of course, Kevin turned on Cody at Bad Blood, technically after Bad Blood. It was caught on security camera, which I mentioned before, but it's also worth repeating. Very, very smart way to go about that heel turn. Not having it be in like the camera is like, hey, they're just conveniently there to capture Kevin Owens turning heel. No, they left it to the fan cam footage. They knew the fans would be out there, the fans would be there after the show, and pretty much it just goes to show the level of trust that WWE has with its fans, and I guess with the modern age of social media, to be able to have a moment like that. So that was pretty cool. But like, Kevin has turned on Cody and has now turned on Randy Orton as well. Team RKO is no more. Kevin turning on Randy because he sided with Cody. Considering he mentored the guy several years ago and has been kind of a mentor or two ever since. They did kind of have a couple encounters, one at WrestleMania 26, but considering how close they are, and considering Randy was brought back in for War Games last year by Cody, is it really that hard to believe that Randy would probably side with Cody? But nevertheless, Randy, in Kevin Owens' mind, has sided with him. And this time, kind of a twist on the heel dynamic for Kevin. This time, he's the one who feels betrayed by Cody and Randy. So he's pretty much gone on a rampage, gone off the deep end. Triple H at first didn't want to give Randy the match because he feared Randy would get hurt and spend even more time off the shelf. But Randy insisting he wants to match with Kevin Owens, so Triple H said, screw it, go ahead. It's your funeral, pretty much. So Randy gets this match with Kevin, but the match never actually starts because, as to quote Luke Owen from Wrestle Talk, they essentially kicked too much ass. But you know what? This time around, it's not a bad thing. So essentially, he he Kevin and Randy are brawling, and it gets out of hand, and Kevin assaults the referee, stuns the referee. That brings out other referees. Kevin and Randy attack the referees. That brings out Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis. Kevin stuns Adam Pearce, or Adam Pearce, and Nick Aldis, I say, run out. Kevin Owens stuns Adam Pearce, or I believe it was Randy who RKO'd Adam Pearce. I forget exactly. Let me take a look. Nope, it was Randy who gave Adam Pearce the RKO. Man, I was expecting KO to stun Nick Aldis, but I'm guessing that probably would have got them in trouble. Well, they wouldn't have gotten in trouble if they attacked Adam Pearce because he's Raw's GM. So they continue brawling, they brawl into the crowd, and it all ends with Kevin Owens doing a big old dive onto Randy from one of the stand areas around the travel case is in the crowd. Owens with a big old dive, or actually he staircase hit Orton with a elbow through the table. So a big old elbow drop through Randy Orton. Thanks Wikipedia, because my memory does tend to get a little fuzzy at times. But nevertheless, big old dive. So the match is thrown out. Now, admittedly, I'm kind of conflicted. On one hand, it would have been nice to see an actual match between these two, and not just essentially not essentially just an angle, because this is something you probably could have did on Raw. But on the other hand, if you're gonna cancel a match for any reason, having a big old brawl and getting over how much these two men just want to beat the crap out of each other and destroy each other, I think this is definitely a smart way to go about it. It's still it's something that happens, but it still leaves the fans satisfied. The fans still pop and everything when it happens. So admittedly, no harm, no foul. They still got across what they needed to get across. But next up into the next match, proper triple threat action for the WWE United States Championship. Game 7, or are we on Game 8? Game 7.5, I guess. As Andrade and Carmelo Hayes face off once again, but this time in triple threat action against the United States Champion, and with everybody saying L.A. Knight. Yeah. So Andrade and Carmelo Hayes had been having a phenomenal best of 7 series, and they decided to tie that into the United States Championship. And the segue from going to just it being a matter of personal pride, this best of 7, to transitioning to LA Knight getting involved and kind of picking fights with both guys, causing the tiebreaker match to end essentially in a no contest to set up them now challenging for the United States Championship. I think very, very smart way to seamlessly transition. Of course, the United States Championship, definitely no strangers to who no, the Undertaker didn't pass by. My light just went out. But of course, the United States Championship, no stranger to best of 7 series. He's in the past, as we've seen best of 7s with guys like Booker T and Chris Benoit and Scott Steiner, or as well. Although Booker T and Scott Steiner, that one was in WCW, but yeah, the U.S. title, no strangers to best of 7, but to see how it transitions into that was pretty cool to see. But nevertheless, it leads to this triple threat match here, and this a really, really great triple threat. All 3 guys worked really well together. We already see the chemistry and connection, everything between Carmelo Hayes and not LA Knight, but Andrade, because we've seen them face off now 7 times to this point. Only to now, to add LA Knight to the mix, it's one thing where the guys face off so much and they're so familiar with each other and the fans love it. But then when you add a third guy to the mix, it can be hit or miss. It can be make or break. Like either this third guy, I should say, is gonna throw off the whole vibe, or or is not going to fit, or he's going to fit in really well. And I think all three guys did really well. There was that one slit hip. I'm sure you guys were waiting for me to address that as well. The rope's kind of slippery. That night. I think it was Liv who also hipped on the rope. So, oh man, the slippery ropes from Clash of the Castle are back. They use them again for Crown Jewel. If you haven't already, go check out my review of Clash of the Castle. But nevertheless, still a really great match, and LA Knight ultimately picking up the win. And also shout out to the awesome custom championship the LA Knight has for the U.S. title with like the LA Knight logo pretty much throughout the strap of the United States Championship. That looked really cool, and LA Knight getting the great win. And this was a really, really awesome, phenomenal match. I would recommend any of these matches to check out from the card if you're interested, if you missed it, of course. But of all the matches I recommend checking out, I definitely recommend this match. This match was fantastic. But now it's time for your main event, the men's turn this time for the Crown Jewel Championship, as SmackDown's undisputed WWE champion, that being the American Nightmare, the son of the plumber, or the son of the plumber, Cody Rhodes, takes on the Ring General, Gunther. So, of course, this match also announced at Bad Blood, and now they're facing off here. Gunther has called a shot Babe Ruth style, saying he's going to put Cody away with the sleeper. Will he be able to? We are going to find out. But this match was a whole lot of fun. Like talk about a great way to main event. Now, a lot of people kind of felt like this match should have main evented over the Bloodline 6-man tag, and I gotta agree. And I'm glad they decided to go with this match main evented. And no disrespect to the Bloodline story and everything, but this match, I think, more than suitable main event. Both guys absolutely brought it. We got a little bit of everything, and we really got to see what made both men and really phenomenal wrestlers, and the reason why both men are champions essentially. We saw some technical prowess. We saw some of that Cody Rhodes that trademark Cody Rhodes electric offense. We saw Gunther with his power and his wrestling ability, of course. Both men absolutely brought it, absolutely tore down the house. And a very awesome finish with Cody going for the Cody Cutter off the top rope, Gunther catching him in the sleeper, Cody rolling back Bret Hart at WrestleMania 8 style in order to pick up the win over Gunther. There's Cody kind of getting the surprise roll-up win, and it does kind of accomplish both. It makes Gunther kind of look relatively strong, the fact that Cody had to eke out a win, and Cody does get the win here. Gunther shakes Cody's hand afterwards, similar to what he did for Randy Orton at Bad Blood. Face turn for Gunther? But nevertheless, Cody gets the win here, holds the Crown Jewel Championship up high. To close out the show, and what a way to close out the show. Very, very awesome, very, very fun match. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for Crown Jewel, and I think because this video is already pretty dang long, I'm breaking my promise immediately, because I think I'm going to upload this tomorrow, but it will be uploaded in tomorrow morning, and you are still going to get your Wednesday video tomorrow. But nevertheless, as for strongest week's match of the night, the strongest definitely the main event. And it's like that was a match I think a lot of people were excited for, just on paper. I do feel like if you wanted to do champion versus champion, you probably could have found an easier way to do it, or not even have a Crown Jewel Championship, just do champion versus champion. And but nevertheless, they did, and I am pretty glad they did it. Of course, this first time Cody and Gunther are facing in a one-on-one match. At least, they face Ace in the Royal Rumble. Cody literally eliminating Gunther 2 years in a row. From the Royal Rumble, but for their first one-on-one encounter, I think they did really, really well. As for the weakest, honestly, it's kind of hard. There is not a bad match on this card. Maybe Seth versus Bronson, but But that match was still really good. So yeah, when you have to struggle to find a weakest match of the card, or you did something good. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on post notifications. Every time I upload a video, so you can see it as soon as it drops. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Crown Jewel, my review of Crown Jewel. Did you like Crown Jewel? Did you like my review of Crown Jewel? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.